scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime. Unbelievable.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, a Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And unfortunately, we are here to talk about a Carolina Panthers loss. Panthers drop a very close and entertaining game to the New Orleans Saints, 27-24. Jerry, this was a heartbreaker, unfortunately.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, if our defense could make a stop, we are in this. I mean, we lost by a field goal, completely blew that 7.5 point spread. I don't understand that at all. We showed life. Like I said, our defense, man, I'm just so disappointed in our defense after showing signs of life, having Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders out. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I don't want to get too much into that right now.
Yeah, well, it's odd, right? Like the defense looked bad all day, yet they only gave up 27 points to the Saints, who are averaging 30 points a game. So we gave up less points than the Saints are averaging. But here's the all drives for the Saints: touchdown, fumble. Okay, there we got our stop there. Touchdown, field goal, end of game. No punts at all.
No punts.
And all these drives, 14 plays, 9 plays, 8 plays, 8 plays, 13 plays, 13 plays. And then the end of game was only 4 plays. But, I mean, they just held on to the ball for the entire game almost. They had almost 35 minutes of possession to 25 for the Panthers. They had 67 plays to the Panthers 43. I mean, they just controlled the game. We played at the Saints' pace in this game.
Yeah. I don't know what brainiac came up with our defensive scheme of, hey, here's a good idea. Let's rush three and 4 players, stand back in zones, and let Drew Brees pick us apart.
Yeah.
He did that all game. I don't understand Phil Snow's concept there. That was just, have you never watched Drew Brees a day in your life? Like, that is what he is great at. He is great at manipulating teams into that. I bet you when he realized that that's their defense that they were playing, he was like, oh, yes. Hello.
And it didn't change after halftime.
No.
There were no adjustments. It seemed like they were made offensively or defensively for the Panthers. You talk about the defense, and yes, and we'll talk about it more. The offensive game plan was also very strange. Mike Davis had 7 carries in a game that was very close the entire day. The Panthers as a team had 14 carries, and 2 of those were Teddy Bridgewater scrambles for 37 yards. And then Curtis Samuel had that 1 touchdown, which was a nice play, but only 5 yards. This was a game. Teddy threw the ball 28 times. We only ran it 14 as a team. I don't know. I mean, Mike Davis, 7 carries for 12 yards. What is that? Like, this was a game that never got more than a touchdown out of hand the entire day. How are you only running it 7 times?
Because he only rushed for 12 times. Every time he was getting stopped in the backfield. His long.
Yeah, but he only ran 7 times.
It doesn't matter when you are getting nothing. His long is 7 yards, so he had 6 rushes for 5 yards. He was getting stopped nonstop. He was actually
you can't even say that. You only ran it 7 times. That's not enough to do anything.
I mean, we only had 43 offensive snaps, second lowest of all time in Panthers history.
Yeah, and only 14 of those were runs. That's a low percentage. I mean, and it's a close game. You can't pretend like that's normal. That's completely abnormal.
It's abnormal, but we weren't rushing the ball at all. We weren't able to rush the ball at all. I mean, Mike Davis, first of all, he looked not that good. I know he only had 7 carries, but there was a couple plays I saw he had a chance to make a move and stuff. Instead, he danced back there and then got the defensive player came to him and then he got tackled instead of just putting his foot down, going forward like he had in the past. I mean, this defense sucks. I don't understand what Phil Snow's thought process on this game was. It just blows my mind that this is what we went with. I don't understand it. It made no sense. Let Drew Brees pick his own defense apart. There was one player out there that was consistently doing something, and that was Brian Burns. Everybody else on defense just laid an egg. I mean, and I can't blame them because the scheme itself was just piss poor.
Yeah, but didn't you hear the announcers talking about how amazing Tahir Whitehead was?
I did. Yeah.
Maybe throw up a little bit.
God, I mean,
do you even watch Panthers games, guys?
No, they don't. Obviously, they don't.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, Rasul Douglas, of course, missed this game. I think that was a big hole for us because I'm hoping that maybe he would have followed that Marquez Callaway around, who was obviously their best wide receiver, and he had 8 catches for 75 yards before going out with an injury. But you and I talked in our preview that the key to this game was going to be stopping Alvin Kamara, and they didn't even come close to stopping Alvin Kamara.
Oh, no. He didn't
have any touchdowns, but he had 14 carries for 83 yards and 8 receptions for 65 yards. This guy is going to he's going to end up having more total yards if he stays healthy than McCaffrey had last year. He's going to join that 1,000 club and probably do it more impressively than McCaffrey did last year. Maybe not quite the touchdown. He's not on the touchdown pace. But
well, that's because they have more weapons. I mean, granted, today they didn't have Thomas and Sanders. They have more weapons to spread out the defense. McCaffrey didn't really have that last year with Kyle Allen throwing the ball around. It just wasn't. It was all McCaffrey.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Speaking of defense, I saw Darius Taylor out there quite a bit. I'm kind of curious if he kind of replaced Tahir Whitehead a lot this game.
Yeah, I saw Whitehead out there. I don't know. Taylor did end up with more tackles, so I'd be perfectly fine with that if he does take over for Whitehead, because Whitehead is just useless. He's trash.
I mean, that's one positive out of this game is that.
Yeah. I mean, on the positive side, like you said, Brian Burns had the big sack fumble, the only sack of the game for the Panthers. Only hit Drew Brees twice, but Brian was there several times. He was close.
And then he had a pass deflection. He was flying around there. He
was out there a lot. Yep, he looked good. And they said I guess it was Phil Snow mentioned before the game that he thought Brian Burns was going to be coming into his own soon and look for the production to increase. So this was a good sign for Panthers fans. This guy is going to be really good.
Yeah,
he's already really good.
Him and Jeremy Chin. I know I'd said Brian Burns was really the only player. Jeremy Chin's having a great season for a rookie. He's flying around there, making a lot of tackles. He does need to make a couple more. I hate saying just splash plays, but plays that kind of lights him up. He did it last week, unfortunately, in a loss. And this week, I didn't really see it. He did have 8 total tackles, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see them rush him a few times and let him see if he can kind of get to the quarterback. I mean, I know he's super important out there in the flat and in the middle of the field, patrolling sideline to sideline. I mean, that's, we need that, but it'd be nice to see if he could get, make some splash plays, get to the quarterback. Because that Brian Burns sack, I mean, that was massive. That was huge. That's the only time that the Saints had the ball that they didn't score.
Well, first of all, I want to compliment Teddy Bridgewater. He was 23 out of 28, 254 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a really good game. I know you were. I mean, he was the reason we were in this game. It wasn't because of a defense, and it wasn't because of the running game. It was because of Teddy Bridgewater was very careful with the ball, very accurate with the ball. Mm-hmm. As for DJ Moore, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if maybe Teddy and DJ just maybe are seeing different things on the field, or maybe a scheme that Robbie Anderson is more, opened up. Not really 100% sure. Another great player, Curtis Samuel. You could tell it's on third down. That's Teddy's guy. You could tell he looks for him.
For sure.
6 reception, 48 yards. I mean,
yeah, Curtis Samuel had a great game. And again, just that safety valve. He's sort of playing like our tight end in terms of like the safety valve on third down, short yardage situations where you absolutely need a catch and you can count on a guy sort of having a mismatch. He seems to always have a mismatch.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that. And I kind of want to go back to DJ Moore a little bit because it sounds like that I'm sort of down on him. He's having a good year. He's still going to end up with well over 1,000 yards receiving at this pace. It just feels like there's a lot of missed opportunities with him. Robbie Anderson had another good game. 6 catches, 74 yards. I mean, he just continues to be solid and reliable. But this is another game in 2 in a row now where he didn't have any of the big splash plays. No touchdowns for him in this game. So,
I mean, both of them are probably going to end. They're currently, or before this game, they were in the top 10 in receiving yards, both of them.
Yep.
I don't really see them dropping out. They may, DJ Moore may drop out of the top 10. Robbie Anderson definitely won't.
I don't think so. I mean, DJ Moore had 93 yards today. So
I mean, I don't think you could really be negative on either one of them.
No, again, I'm not negative. I feel like, I think it's maybe a compliment to DJ Moore that even though he's, going to end up probably 8th or 9th in receiving yards, he's tied for 26th in receptions, and he only got 4 in this game. So I just feel like they're leaving some on the table with him, but they could go to him a little more. I'd like to see it at least. So I mean, so for you, your big, why the Panthers lost this game is defense scheming, and I think why the Panthers lost this game is offense scheming. Although definitely I had an issue with the defense.
Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Proper grooming requires precision engineered tools. Not only does a man's sensitive area requires it, but hygiene demands it. Go to manscaped.com and use promo code MeowMix Podcast for 20% off and free delivery.
Let's do some heroes and zeros.
All right. I'm going to start it off. I'm going to go hero as Teddy Bridgewater because I said this before. Without him in this game, we had no chance. He kept us afloat in this game, holding our offense up. So I give him the hero award.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brian Burns. Massive play made by him. He's really the only defender that I felt good about all day long. And he had an opportunity to really make a game-changing. In fact, I'll say it. He made a game-changing sack. That got the Panthers the ball back. Game that was going the wrong direction, and he made a huge play there. So great job, Brian Burns.
Yeah. Now let's go to the zeros. Do you want to start it off with the zeros?
Yeah, this is I'm going Troy Pride Jr. I do not think this guy is ready to start. And really you could really give it to the entire defense other than Brian Burns. I'm just going to pick on Troy Pride because I saw him miss several tackles. One where he just tried to blow up, I think it was Kamara. He tried to blow him up at the line of scrimmage. If he'd have just wrapped him up, it'd have been a nice play. Mm-hmm. Instead, Kamara just sort of bounces off of him and goes 10 yards down the field for the first down. So just make the tackle, man. Like, it seems like every week we're talking about, why aren't these guys making the tackle? Why are they trying to make the big giant hit? Conversely, we've said that we'd like them to make a fire play, but in that case, the fire play would have been stopping him at the line of scrimmage when all he's done all day long is run all over.
A 3rd and 14, and you let Kamara get 5-yard tackle. That's a fire play. Yeah. That's a game-changing play. It doesn't have to be a blow-up hit.
Yep.
My zero, I'm going for the coach's head. I'm going for Phil Snow. I do not like that scheme that you ran against Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a future Hall of Famer. Drew Brees is one of the most accurate quarterbacks of all time. And you run a zone scheme without much blitz, and you let him pick us apart.
And by the way, their top 2 receivers are out. Like, of all games where you could have lined up man-to-man and probably done a pretty good job, even with your number 1 corner out, you should have at least tried it. Like, come out and try it at the beginning of the game.
Thank you. Because I meant to bring that up. Yes. Why are you not? Hey, you know what, Dante Jackson? I'm going to find whichever one of these guys, Callaway, or I'm going to have him go man-to-man because he's fast. Eli Apple, we could try him, No, they didn't even try it. It's so frustrating that when we were doing that, it had visions of bad Panthers schemes before, and it was just bad. And they didn't even change it in the halftime. It was, oh, yeah, that was good. We only gave up 21 points to them in the first half. Let's keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we want to thank everybody for listening. If you like our show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we'll read the comment on the show.